Hey, I'm Spencer.
And I'm Britton.
Since 2011, Buckethead has released 286 albums in his Pike series. And we're going to listen to them.
3 at a time.
This is Getting Head, a Bucketcast.
Welcome, bots, slogs, friends, and bucketheads. This is episode
21! 21! Finally legal, baby! Yeah, we just took shots as the music played. Look at that. Look how cool we are. We're so cool. We're so hip.
We're so adult.
Hell yeah, dude. You gotta celebrate the 21st birthday of your podcast. That's what you do in your 30s.
Yeah. So this has been officially like a little more than 5 months we've been on the air.
Yeah. So we're out there. We're putting words out into the world.
It's been about 8 months since we kind of started this project all together.
Has it really been that long?
August of last year, yeah. That's when we started recording.
No way. Really?
Way, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize we've been doing it for that long. That's wild.
No.
Huh.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I kind of really appreciate the consistency of it. Like, we do it a lot, but it's very consistent, and I get to hang out with you and just talk about bullshit, which is great, which I would do that anyway. So I guess that's the reason why it doesn't feel like we've been doing this for so long, because I spend so much time talking to you about bullshit anyway.
Yeah, right. It's just because, it's just now we're just kind of doing it more publicly and on video. So we kind of have to sometimes think a bit more about what we're talking about, or at least say hey, you should edit that out. That's about it.
The redactions.
Yes, the redactions.
To listen to all of our redactions, please subscribe to our Patreon.
Actually, that's not untrue.
So, Britt, what's up with you? What you been doing?
Just hanging out, having fun, number one. Mostly just editing the podcast. We have pretty much just a 10-day lead time on the cast, and I kind of put it off until yesterday-ish.
So that gives you a 2-day lead time?
3 day, I had 3 days for the episode 19, but because you send me the audio tracks just one at a time, and I put aside time to do that episode yesterday, but because I didn't, I just did the next episode, which I had the track for, but not the previous episode. So today I did the previous episode. So now we've got a good lead time. And now with us recording this today, we're going to have a much nicer lead time. We're going to have a 17-day lead time, which is really nice and comfortable.
Yeah, hell yeah. Happy to.
I appreciate
love
that.
Doing
Thank you. I like having a longer lead time, and
I'm always down to do more. I don't.
And
care.
I mean,
it's not like I do anything else.
Yeah,
I do, but also, not really.
Yeah, I honestly, in a way, love to get this done with as soon as possible. You know what I mean? It's just I've looked into the future. I'm this is 2 years of my life, but if I could make it a year and a half, that'd be really cool too.
Hell yeah.
And then one thing that's just updated every time he releases 3 more pikes,
Yeah, totally. Makes sense to me. I'm into it.
I'm confused, but it makes sense to me.
These are jokes for only me. I like that you have jokes for only me.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here.
It's what we've been doing for 15 years.
That's true. So, we have at least one listener to this podcast. You. Oh, wait, you don't.
I have actually listened to a few. Cool. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. It's it's a lot of time to set aside. I don't have a lot of time to listen to things. So I have been listening to it. I've listened to, I think, probably 5 of the episodes.
You should listen to it at work and fuck with people.
Oh my goodness, God, that would not be okay. I mean, I do talk about similar things at work, but also I don't talk about some of the things that I talk about with you at work.
Cool.
You know, that's how it is.
Excellent. So, this week I'm going to learn how to microblade.
What does that mean?
Microblading is basically tattooing for eyebrows.
Okay.
And that's it. It's like a ton of women these days, like that look like they have perfect eyebrows, just have microblading on their eyebrows. So you basically like color match their hair to a specific like ink dye, and then after that kind of make very light lines where their eyebrows are. And so their eyebrows like always look filled in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Sounds potentially lucrative.
Oh, it's very
I'd be like
lucrative,
a little terrified of tattooing people's faces. That seems horrifying.
I don't care, man. Like, I don't know. I've cooked lots of types of fish, so at this point, I'm not afraid of fucking anything up, to be honest.
Okay.
Except for like human relationships. That's the only thing more complicated than like trying to cook fucking black cod on a fucking flat grill. Not a flat grill, sorry. A fucking grill.
Mm-hmm.
God, Twitter's an interesting cesspool, and I kind of like the cesspool in a way because, like, I mean, it's as though like everyone on the internet like somehow like got tenure in their position, you know, like, you know how if you're like a tenured professor at a university, suddenly like you have the ability to just say outlandish shit because you have like absolute job security, right? Sure. And like. The tenure is literally job security for you to have like crazy ideas and say outlandish shit. And so that's why some of like the best intellectuals of our era have been like tenured professors.
Interesting.
And that's kind of how I feel about Twitter is like everyone feels like they have a deep internet tenure. And so they have the ability, like their opinion really matters. And
you know, like point or potentially counterpoint, I'm not exactly sure. The other day I was really tired at work, so I tweeted just 2 words. I tweeted 2 words. I said tax fraud. And I got 8 likes on that tweet. Okay?
Okay. So I saw that like earlier and I didn't like it because I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
So I was really, really fucking tired at work and I was just like, tax fraud. Nice. That's pretty funny. Fuck taxes. And then I was like, tax fraud. I don't know. I'm not making any claim about tax fraud. I'm not pro tax fraud or anti tax fraud. Just tax fraud in general. I don't know.
You're just saying the issue. Like, why don't you just go ahead and from now on to get likes on Twitter, just post the titles of Wikipedia articles. Like
that's pretty good, dude.
Just
there's people that do that on Instagram.
Send like, yeah. Cool.
Lord Tim disambiguation.
Is there? Well, actually, there is a disambiguation because, like, apparently, Lord Tim isn't the first Lord Tim. There's another Lord Tim from England.
I love that there's multiple Lord Tims.
I think Lord Tim from England is an actual Lord, though, even though he doesn't have a band called Lord.
Is it Lord Tim Allen? Dude, that was amazing when you played that at the end of our episode with Andrew. Like, I genuinely guffawed. It was amazing.
Yeah. That's why it's a great ender song. One sec, I need to close my door.
Britt, would you be kind enough?
No, probably not.
Fuck you. Okay. Britt, would you be interesting enough? Would you be dedicated enough? Would you be
yes, that's a yes. I definitely would be dedicated enough to what now?
To hit me
with the bucket fact. Bucket fact, 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 bucket fact. So,
yeah.
Recently, episode 19, I think, we talked about how Buckethead fucks.
Buckethead.
Absolutely. And so I kind of wanted to go down a rabbit hole and see if I could find any information on Buckethead having any romantic connections or aspirations toward anybody.
Yeah, sure. That's a good thing to check out.
Oh, it was difficult. There's not much information out there at all.
I would imagine. He seems like a very private person.
Absolutely. However, back in the late 80s, Buckethead sent a love letter to guitarist for Michael Jackson and later Jeff Beck, Jennifer Batten.
Okay.
Who appeared on all of Michael Jackson's albums and like tours from like the late 80s, from like Bad and onward. And then like Jeff Beck's stuff from like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Damn. Like, I mean, if she's playing with artists like that, she must shred. Like, I'm not familiar with her work, but
yeah, no, absolutely.
She's got to be pretty good and like 100%. Play with those dudes.
Yeah. So in a pretty recent interview of hers, she says, quote, yeah, he was very cute. I met him when he was 16 years old, and he sent me a love letter of reasons why we should make a great couple.
Aww.
That would probably embarrass the shit out of him right now, but it was very sweet. I wish I still had the letter, and I don't think I have it.
Aww.
When asked,
it's actually very cute.
Yeah, right?
I like that very much.
Me too. When asked what the reasons he gave her were that they'd be a great couple, she said, we're both guitar players, of course.
Obviously.
And also, early on, he did a spoof of Guitar Workshop videos that he sent me. I had a Westie dog at the time, and his mother used to raise Westies.
Oh.
So apparently
I'm not
that's
familiar with a
reason.
Westie. Can I look up a Westie really quick?
Yeah, it's a type of dog. I don't know. And then when asked about his guitar playing...
Oh, these dogs. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what kind of dogs these are.
When asked about his guitar playing, she said, he's a monster. He's one of those guys that just digs in and digs in and digs in and evolves over time, and he's weird as hell. You know he's fearless as far as what he's going to do with the guitar, which is it's great for breaking boundaries.
Hell yeah. I would agree with that. That's actually a pretty good description of Buckethead. Will you enable screen sharing?
Oh, absolutely. One sec.
So here we have Westies.
Oh.
There's these dogs.
Is that?
Hey, this one's pretty cute. Look at this one. Damn.
Oh, it's a super cute dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they all white?
Yeah.
That's really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very. I've met a few of these dogs. They've been pretty good. I like them.
They seem real.
I mean, I like pretty much all dogs though. Like, so that is like terrible, you know.
Yeah, dogs are good. Dogs are.
I don't think I dislike any dogs. So I don't know.
That's fair. 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's adorable. I actually have another bucket romance story to share here.
Bucket romance.
So I posted, I shared a meme that you posted, I think, on our Bucketcast account on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody responded that was like, haha, he played at my venue a few years back. He hit on our stage manager afterward, and she turned him down.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Buckethead hits on... Oh.
I think that would be okay, and like if he was still young, I think at this point he probably knows what he's doing. Like the person that said that like didn't imply that he was like a creep or anything. She just said that like he hit on somebody that worked there. Okay. So I don't know. I asked for more detail, but like she didn't really elaborate. So I don't really know more information than that, and that is anecdotal. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. I still like that bucket romance story. Bucket romance.
I like that too. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I like to think that he's definitely he's another human being, and he has needs and aspirations like everybody else.
Aspirations, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
He wants to stick one.
Look in that butthole.
He wants to stick his tongue in the butt.
Yeah, he does.
Like Jabba the Hutt, you know what I'm saying?
Tongue in the butt, Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, that's what's like. Okay, that's great. That's great to know. I hope that like I'm gonna put out some feelers out there. I know some people in the music industry. I'm gonna put out some feelers. I'm gonna see if anybody's got any bucket stories to share with us.
Yeah.
See if we can dredge up some information.
Yeah.
Some anecdotes.
Get some information data out of that. Do it, dog.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes.
Bucket Facts.
We listened to 3 Buckethead albums.
We did listen to 3 more Pikes. Pike 61, 62, and 63, respectively.
Hell yeah.
We got, how do you pronounce this?
Cetaceous?
Cetaceous? Let's go for that. Okay, so we got Pike 61 Cetaceous, Pike 62 outlined for Cetaceous, and then Pike 63 Grand Gallery.
Yep. What a selection of pikes this week.
Yeah,
my goodness.
This was definitely 3. I mean, two similar pikes, and then one that was just not.
We will get to that.
Yeah,
we will get to that. Pike 61 Cetaceous. This I think is probably my vote for strongest pike this week.
Yeah, released on May 20th, 2014, which is just 1 week after the last Pike Footsteps.
It's been.
I'm sorry, I don't have that ready to go.
It's been.
I used to have it. I used it in one of our episodes. It's been 1 episode since I used that.
I have a history of taking off my shirt. That's my favorite line in that song. It's so good. It implies like a sort of guy that takes off their shirt. And like, I know so many guys like that. Okay. Real talk for a second. Like not fake talk, real talk. Okay. Oh. Real talk for a second. You know what I've been thinking about?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
I've been thinking about the sweaty shirtless guy in the pit. Just the like archetypal sweaty shirtless guy in the pit. Where is that person at these days? Like, how are they doing? I hope that they're okay. They don't have a pit to be sweaty and rub their slime on me.
Here's the thing, because I used to be the sweaty shirtless guy on the dance floor, but I wouldn't touch anybody. Good.
That's good on you.
I would just like eventually I would strip layers off as I got hotter and hotter, and as like I sweat through things, and I'm like, this is just like sweat drenched now. I need to like take more layers off, But that's like a product of like going hard when you dance. Sure. When you're like moshing, I feel like the sweaty shirtless guy like takes off his shirt immediately. Like before he starts getting to be the sweaty shirtless guy.
Oh yeah. That's like the first step to becoming like sweaty shirtless guy in the pit.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be shirtless before you get sweaty in the pit, and it's like...
Oh, yeah. And you either need to be pre-gaming outside, or you hit the bar first. Like, sweaty shirtless guy does not just show up sweaty shirtless guy. Sweaty shirtless guy goes through a transformation.
Right.
He goes through a metamorphosis, if you will. He comes in a pupa, and he leaves a fucking butterfly. Okay?
The pit is his cocoon, wherein he transforms into something new.
Something new, something beautiful, something pure.
Oh yeah, something. Yes, the transition of nature. In the pit. But so I feel like there's different classes of sweaty, shirtless guy in the pit, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have, I'm going to go from top to bottom. All right. So,
okay.
So at the top, you have your chads, like guys who don't really belong at the show, who like, you know, work out a bunch, but they're there because they're like already drunk and like there's a show or whatever. There's like one band they want to see because like they're friends with like one of the musicians, but they really just don't belong in the show. And I know a couple of those guys, just chads who show up at the show. You know who was kind of a chad? No, not really a chad. Like, do you remember Spaz?
Barely.
Yeah, he was a guy who was always shirtless in the pit, and he was like, he was so normie.
I feel like you have the guys that make it their sort of, not necessarily identity, but their sort of mission, right? Like, they show up at the show and they're like, I'm going to fucking mosh. I'm going to start so many circle pits. Like, I'm just going to get so sweaty and so drunk that nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, and like, those are the guys I'm kind of the most okay with, and so
the lifers, if you will.
The lifers, yeah, that's those are the guys kind of in the middle, like the guys who are just there.
And I would actually agree, like those are the dudes I'm the most okay with.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and then below that you have the guys who just like don't belong there,
and they want to get angry, and they want to get like shitty.
They're there to get angry and shitty. Yeah, and those people just don't belong there at all.
Those are the worst. I think the worst I ever experienced with those fucking guys was, what show was it? I think it was Mastodon.
Show. Mastodon, interesting.
It might not have been Mastodon. It might have been no, it was Mastodon. Yeah. It was a show at Showbox Soto here in Seattle. I'm pretty sure it was Mastodon, but like there was a bunch of circle pits that kept happening that just got like too violent, like to a point where I was like, this is dumb. Like, especially for this kind of music, like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, I get it if like the circle pit gets crazy during like a fucking like slam death metal band, like sure. But like Mastodon, like, bro, go to a slam show. What are you doing?
I mean, there's a couple songs like Wyatt Will.
Yeah, Blood and Thunder. Like, sure. Like, no, you gotta go hard for Blood and Thunder.
Yeah, you gotta go hard for that shit. But like most of their stuff is like super melodic and like proggy, and not something like you can rhythmically just hit things to.
Yeah. You know? And like I feel like that's the thing that happens more at those like bigger shows where you have like roughly like anywhere from 800 to like 1,500 people in attendance. Like those bigger shows, that's where shit tends to get a little bit less focused, right? People get drunk, they get interested in the idea of there just being a large crowd around them,
right? And
they just get crazy.
Although I don't know, like, because one of the best recent metal shows I went to, which was I think at like the end of 2018, even. Or maybe 2019.
Oh, shows are dead. R.I.P. shows.
No, I think it was actually the end of 20. No, it was the end of 2019. But King Diamond.
Oh shit! Yeah. And I missed that because I fucking suck.
Yeah, it was a super well attended show. I mean, it was fucking packed. I think it was probably sold out. And there was like moshing going on, but you know, it was a King Diamond crowd, and so it was like a lot of like people in their like 30s, 40s, 50s.
Like you have no idea how. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Cool. I know I'm shitty, but you have no idea like how much it hurts to like think about a King Diamond show that I chose not to attend for some fucking reason. Like, I don't remember why I chose not to go.
That's good.
But there was a King Diamond show that I chose not to go to. What is happening?
I know you had already seen him, but I'm like, he's still touring, and he's like 60 something.
He's so fucking incredible,
and he's
too.
Incredible.
Like the time I saw him, like, oh my God, like he blew my mind.
And you know,
it's amazing.
You know who's easily just as mind blowing? Who was there too?
Who?
Andy fucking LaRoque, dude.
I know. I knew it saying who, but like, I know. He's so fucking good.
He's amazing.
Even though he uses line 6, I give him a pass. It's okay. He's amazing.
He uses whatever makes him sound like he needs to, and you can't hate that no matter what.
You can't. It's impossible to hate.
I mean,
he's so good.
If you want to hate people who have like used the line 6 fucking delay loop pedal, you can hate most of the musicians you actually like.
that is a very popular
the
green one
or whatever.
You're talking about the green one, right? The one with like 4 foot switches.
Yeah. It also came in red at some point, but yeah, that one. Yeah, the one that needs to be repaired every like 2 years.
Like I just been thinking about stuff like that. You know, like we're now a year into coronavirus, and like I have not been to a show in now over a year, and that sucks. Because I was, I had definitely ramped up the amount of shows that I was going to towards the end of 2019 into 2020, and I was going to a lot of stuff that I wouldn't typically go to, and like I'm glad that I did that now, but like I'm also just fucking sad, dude. There's so much stuff I want to see.
I went to shows as recently as August.
What did you see in August?
Oh, there was tons of like protest shows at the Chaz and the Chop.
Sure.
Yeah, that was dope as fuck.
I mean, a little bit different, but yes, no, it's still this. It's still much closer to like a.
I mean, it was live music on a stage with like a professional like sound rig and everything. So it was. Yeah. I mean, it was an outdoor show, but an outdoor show is a fucking show.
Yeah, an outdoor show is a fucking show, and that's sick. Like, it would be cool so great to be like
surrounded by like people I knew I was like politically on board with, even if I didn't like the music.
Yeah, I saw a lot of songs going around that time that I was like, this is. I agree with the message here, but like this song sucks.
Yeah, right. That's unfortunately the problem with a lot of protest music is a lot of it's just kind of like dog shit music with a cool
Not
message.
Everybody can be CCR's fortunate son, okay?
I think they can. Anyone can cover that song. That's a fucking
That's the joke. Hey, guess what? Creedence fucking sucks.
Hey, listen. You know what? For being a band that only existed for 4 fucking years.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
They only existed for 4 years.
I guess I kind of retract my statement then.
Yeah,
because they made songs that will live on probably past my lifespan.
And that's the same feeling I have knowing that every Boston song you've ever heard was on one of 2 albums. Straight up.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's
Dude,
crazy.
Boston is like one of those bands that I think is like insanely impressive. Their whole story is insane. Like that dude, the main guy from Boston, I forget his name. He recorded that first Boston album, the one with all of the hits, like almost all of the hits. Like he recorded that album almost by himself in his garage in the 70s, like before that was a thing. Like it's insane. Like dude, crazy shit. That first Boston album is one of the most impressive musical things that has ever been put out.
So honestly, I think even more impressive than that, after he did that, he invented like the very first like very popular headphone guitar amp in the 80s.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh shit. It's a thing that he recorded a lot of the Boston stuff on. It's like this this closed circuit that he created that was like basically a 2-stage preamp along with some other like transistor effects he put in there, including like basically the distortion that was the classic like Boston distortion.
Okay.
And it's one sec.
I'll look into that. That sounds interesting. That guy is really interesting. I forget his name. Like I should probably just look him up. But he like pioneered home recording. Like before he recorded that album in his home, like home recording was not a thing. Like at all. Like he was the guy that pioneered that. And that album, that Boston album that was super successful, that first album, part of the reason it was so successful was that he recorded it himself. And so there was no money that needed to go to a studio, basically.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of that, he made so much fucking money on that album.
So this is the thing he invented, the Rockman amplifier.
Tom Scholes. I see he is purple in your Wikipedia history. Understandably.
Shut up. Don't at me.
Yeah.
Well.
You know what's interesting? Like these days, I primarily use private browsers. Mm-hmm. So like I don't have any history, any like browsing history. I've used private browsers for the last 6 years. So I don't have any.
I want you to look at the people.
Oh, I see quite a few people here,
including look at this one right here.
I see that one right there. Buckethead soloist,
Buckethead
mainly using the Rockman.
Uses the Rockman.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he mainly used that, to be honest. Or I wonder, like, up to what point he mainly used that. I don't know if he still does.
I highly doubt that.
Me too.
I mean, 90s, like, I imagine this is the sort of product that seems very, very time and place. Yeah, like, it was probably really great 90s. At the time.
Yeah.
But now I don't think it would hold up too much. You know, I could probably make a pedal that would emulate at least part of this circuit.
Yeah, so Megadeth used it to record So Far, So Good, So What, which is a pretty good album.
That is a pretty good album. Tones. That's an underappreciated Megadeth album.
It is. Like. I mean, it's no Peace Sells.
Peace and Rust. It's no Peace and Rust.
It's no Peace or Rust. Let's be honest.
Yeah. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't listened to those early Megadeth records, the 80s Megadeth records, in probably like, fuck, dude, 8 years, maybe 10 years, maybe. Dude, it's been a long time. Like, so for me, the Megadeth that I got obsessed with was the 90s Megadeth. So Rust in Peace.
Yeah, Rust in
Euthanasia,
Peace is obviously the best album.
Countdown to Extinction.
Countdown
like, those
to
were the three records that like blew my fucking shit up.
Countdown to Extinction is one of the funniest pop metal records ever made. It's Megadeth's
Wait, so which
album,
one is the funniest? Countdown to Extinction?
I'd say so, yeah.
Dude, I love Countdown to Extinction. I totally understand what you're talking about.
It's so like introspective. Like it's the most unique. It's one of the most unique metal albums to ever exist. Like
it's really, it really is. It's like, very singular in like what it's trying to do, and I feel like that is like peak Megadeth. Like
it is.
A lot of people will stand Rust in Peace, understandably. Rust in Peace is like,
it's great.
Technically speaking, probably unquestionably the best Megadeth album. Like that being said, though,
like Hangar 18 in the turnaround on Hangar 18 is like monumental. That's one of the coolest moments in like thrash ever.
And like the guitar solo in Tornado of Souls, I have to call out, which is probably I'm gonna say something bold here. I think that's maybe the best guitar solo ever recorded. It's incredible.
That's a Marty Friedman, yeah.
Marty Friedman, yeah. Wow. It's really something. So I have tried to, as a guitar person who you have once, in your own words, called a virtuoso. I don't consider myself that.
That was years ago.
Yeah, it's okay. As a guitar person who has like played a lot of guitar, like I have learned the Tornado of Souls solo, or learned parts of it at times throughout my career as a musician. And it's, to get it to sound the way that Marty plays it, like you really have to commit to that, to his interesting perspective on guitar. Mm-hmm. And it's really something. Like I really consider that guitar solo to be like really something as far as heavy metal goes. I feel like that was a moment in which metal became something a little bit different.
Great solo. At the same time, like Andy LaRocque and other people were doing similar things before that. Like Marty Friedman is a super melodic player, which I love. At the same time, he doesn't do a whole lot of like harmonic stuff, whereas Andy LaRocque does. Like he does a lot of over-tracking.
So a lot of the reason Andy LaRocque's guitar solos sound as cool as they do
is the over-tracking.
Are not necessarily because of Andy LaRocque's technical ability, but it's because of his willingness to incorporate sounds and techniques using techniques using the instrument that are unconventional.
Right.
Like so Andy LaRocque has been super influential to me specifically because of his use of the Floyd Rose tremolo. Mm-hmm. And a lot of his guitar solos sound as cool as they do because he's just fucking shreds with the Floyd Rose. Like,
right.
It's incredible. He's so good. And yes, Johnny Marr also fucking shreds.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, he
Johnny Marr is the emotional equivalent of Andy LaRocque.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Basically, he's like, Andy LaRocque is the metal version of Johnny Marr. He's not afraid to do like double tracking and like harmonizations just to fit exactly what he's trying to say musically, which I think is wonderful.
And like, so the thing that impresses me the most about those guitar solos, like the Andy LaRocque stuff, and also Marty Friedman stuff with Megadeth in the 90s, is that the recording methods employed at those times mean that shit was recorded to tape, and like they had to nail those solos within like a few takes. It's not like those guys got infinite takes for those guitar solos. You know what I mean? Like the level of musicianship required to just be able to bang shit like that out without like the advent of modern like recording is fucking impressive. Like, it's so impressive. I mean, it blows my mind like thinking about it. Honestly.
This wasn't like Chinese Democracy, where they probably recorded it to tape and digital, and you got 12,000 chances to get your take perfect. You know, and the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we started very briefly talking about Pike 61.
No, we didn't.
Before we went on this enormous tirade about lots of other things.
I almost have to take a piss again because we literally spent like 40 minutes on that. Let's just do this one first, and then we'll I'll take a piss.
Sorry.
We're good.
Calcitrist. What are we doing?
What are you talking about? Pike 61.
What the fuck is it called?
Cytasis?
Okay, Cytasis. There we go.
Cytasis, I think. That's what I'm going to go for. Released on May 20th, 2014.
I think this is the strongest Pike of the Pikes this week.
Okay.
It fluctuates between like funk and mosh riffs, and the mosh riffs are pretty sick.
Yeah.
And as a result of the mosh riffs, I say this is the best Pike of this week.
I don't know. So both this and Pike 62 outlined for Cytasis had very similar vibes and very similar songs. And I think they'd actually fit pretty well within, I think, kind of a common thread that Bucket is kind of doing lately, which is being all over the place Buckethead. Something that he kind of did equally so, I think, in the Roller Coaster Repair ride.
Roller Coaster Track Repair.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
Roller Coaster Track Repair, sorry. And then
you should be sorry.
Yeah, more so in Jeopardy Backwards.
Yeah. This one definitely felt like Jeopardy Backwards light.
Yes, exactly.
Almost.
That's what I was exactly going to say. That's a note I had, was Jeopardy Backwards light.
I had that note for both this one and Pike 62.
Right, yeah. So both of them I felt were, you know how in Jeopardy Backwards every measure like was different?
Yeah.
In here, like every 4 measures was different.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
it was definitely like a diluted version of that. Like I liked the influence of the electronic drums and the live drums.
Yeah.
And like, or not necessarily live drums for this one. For the next one, I think that there's some live drums. But for 61, it was just like there was a lot happening in the same sense of Jeopardy Backwards, but definitely not as interesting, not as like dense as that.
Yes, true.
But it was all right. Like there were some cool riffs here and there. Like he uses the baritone a lot on this one, not a lot on 62. And I like hearing the baritone. It was really heavy. There were some like riffs where I was like, oh, like this could be a riff from like a hardcore band. Like,
right, but also
okay.
There was a couple times where he like played riffs that I was like, this sounds like 70s prog. Like in track 7, which was Cytasis 78. It starts with like an electronic drum part that doesn't really go anywhere, and then it becomes like a 70s prog song for a while, which is dope. but then it like regresses to like this post-funk thing where he's just playing a funky bass part and like guitar kind of atmospheres, which he kind of does a lot in here, and it's cool. But I don't know. It didn't interest me a ton. It wasn't bad though. Like I definitely put it at the halfway better point with the Pike so far. Like it feels very authentically Buckethead, and like he's he's doing something very much himself. In as much like track 6, Sciaticus 77, he did a bunch of kill switch stuff, and I actually really liked it. Which is
I also agree. Like especially the first song, like he does a lot of like kill switch riffing that is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has a bunch of like cool little bass ditties that he does, just like a cool little slappy slap dip dap part. Goes bick a dip dap down with a cool little drum part for a couple minutes, and a couple seconds. Switches it up. It's a pretty cool album. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was okay. I like that he kind of like alternated between heavier riffing and funk. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. He does more of that on 62. I feel like to a less effective degree. I thought that 61 was definitely more interesting than 62, but they're very, very similar.
Honestly, yeah, I was gonna say. Did you listen to both of them back to back?
Yeah, I did.
And so that's the thing. I did too, and I really honestly think like maybe your opinion's colored by the fact that you listen to them back to back, because they're very similar albums.
Mm-hmm. I actually listened to 62 first, and then I listened to 61.
Interesting. So yeah, I actually liked 62 more than 61, and it's interesting that you listen to them in a different order and like them differently.
Yeah.
Because I thought that Pike's. I get. Are we done with 61? Done with 61.
Yeah, 61. I feel like we're done with 61.
Buck 61.
Done with 61. Done with 61.
Done with 61. Done
with 61.
Done with 61. Done with 61.
Done with 61.
Died in a car. He died like fucking Jafar, but he did not become a genie like Return of Jafar, Aladdin 2, bitch. Mm-hmm. Pike 62 outlined. Pike 62 outlined for Sciaticus, released on May 28th, 2014. Just 8 days, 1 week, 1 day after the previous album. So something interesting about this album I'm going to point out is the track listing is Sciaticus 63 through 71, 9 tracks here. The track listing for the previous album, released 8 days before, is Sciaticus 72 through 80. So maybe presumably this was recorded beforehand, or the album is meant to be seen as more of an outline for the previous album. Mm-hmm. Also, what did you think was the last album would be a good soundtrack for?
I would say the last one would be like kind of cyber, like anything cyber, like a laser tag arena would be good.
Yeah.
It gave me the vibe of like
a
little bit of cyber. I don't know, like the electronic percussion specifically made me think cyber.
Yeah, definitely a neon type thing, like a Space Mountain type coaster, in my opinion, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And the next one, outlined for Sciaticus. So presumably these two albums are like intrinsically connected, right? We have Sciaticus, and then released 8 days later, outlined for Sciaticus.
Mm-hmm. Sciaticus,
whatever.
Whatever.
Who cares? Sciaticus.
Tell me why you liked it more.
I liked it more because I felt it was more dynamic. He took a lot more time on here. There were a lot more effects, and the EQing, I think, was a little more intentional and interesting. For about the second half of this album, the guitars didn't occupy a ton of the high range of everything.
Also for this one, like, it genuinely sounded like live drums for at least like part of this album. Not necessarily all of it, but like there were some like drum solo-y type parts that sounded like live drums.
I could feel that. At least for like the second 2/3 of the album. Like the beginning of the album was pretty electronic drummy. But yeah, it was pretty good.
The second to last song has a very cool like double kick part.
Yes,
like, where like the double kicks come in. Like that 100%. Was cool. Like I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. Mm-hmm. I didn't dislike the album by any stretch of the imagination. But it was also like,
And so like on the track you just I think mentioned, track 8, Cytasis, whatever. At 131, the song like kind of becomes almost like a black metal song in a way.
Sure.
It's like super melodic guitars over like kind of blast beaty drums, but then it goes into like tapping and like a funk bass part with electronic drums, which is I'd say the majority of this album.
And that's your vibe right there. Like black metal into funk, into like being weird. That's Brit.
No, not really. Not anymore. Maybe years ago. I no longer feel that shit.
I understand.
Yes. I don't know. This album's good. It kind of feels like a direct continuation of the last album.
Yeah, it really does.
And you know, they're good albums, and they're kind of like Jeopardy backwards, but just not quite as good. And so like
definitely not as good.
My opinion of them is like directly colored from recently listening to those albums.
Yeah,
that sucks.
I agree.
Yeah,
I totally understand what you mean.
Yeah, but still all right.
I'd say you could listen to either of them, and it would be a somewhat worthy listen. I personally think 61 is a little bit more interesting, but they're similar enough that also at the same time I don't think it really matters which one you listen to.
Right. I think 61 is probably a little more guitar forward. 62 is a little more bass and electronic forward. But they're still agree. Very similar albums. And in a way, though, I think these two albums actually sound like more of their time than pretty much any Pike we've listened to so far. Like,
how do you mean?
Well, they have like a lot of 90s elements to them, and like all of Buckethead has a lot of 90s elements to it. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of like playing with effects and like making guitars very interestingly low passed in here that you don't really hear in a lot of music in the 90s and early 2000s. And so to me, it sounds a lot like you listened to some like mid-2000s pop and decided to throw some of those elements in there in these albums. Like not quite like like trap or like trap pop or anything like that, but definitely like experimenting with non-traditional guitar sounds, I guess. And I don't know. This would be another good roller coaster soundtrack, to be honest. It's all over the place. It's got a lot of bends and turns, a lot of high points, low points, a lot of dips and dives, just like a roller coaster. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I would also agree with that. That's a pretty good summation of what things were. And then we have Pike 63.
All right, partner. Keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
You talk about this all the time. You talk about the Keep on Rolling, baby all the time. You do. I want you to know this. It's something that I associate with you specifically.
Cool. Pike 63, Grand Gallery.
Buckethead made a noise album. This sounds like the pedal demo area of Guitar Center.
May 28th, 2014. Before we get into commentary. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much all I have to say.
There's not really much to say. It's a noise album. Here. It is not musical.
It's 29 minutes long. It's him, like, not really displaying musicality or anything, really. Just him making kind of like a, I don't know, largely like a horror and like haunted house sounds on a guitar using just a variety of pedals.
Yep, it's a delay and a reverb. And it's Buckethead making noises with a guitar. Not music noises, just noises. And that's okay. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, it's a noise album. It's not music. And that's okay. But that's what this is.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It
is not essential listening for the Pikes.
It's maybe the most skippable Pike so far.
It's a very skippable Pike.
It's top 3 most skippable Pikes, straight up.
Definitely.
Like,
definitely.
There's not an audience that I'm like, hey, you know what? You need to listen to this.
Here's the thing about that. Like, I think that noise is pretty interesting. And actually, speaking of like concerts we last went to before COVID happened, the last concert I went to was a noise show right before COVID hit. And I went and saw, what's his name? Can't remember his name. Finez. Christian Finez. He is a noise artist. He's pretty famous for a couple albums that he released in like the, mid 2000s / early 2010s. And it was really cool. It was interesting to see. The crowd was interesting. But like, I think that noise is cool. Like, I like noise music. I think that it is very interesting. I think it is worthwhile as an art form. That said, the people I know who are into noise, I would not recommend this album to. Like there's more interesting textural noise that exists out there, That said, I think it's interesting to hear Buckethead experimenting in that place. I'm going to stop talking so it makes you stop doing that. Amazing.
Doing what?
I love you. I just want you to know that. Never stop.
I won't. That's all I gotta say about that.
I was just gonna say, like, if you like noise, like, listen to noise. Like, there's cool, weird noise out there that you can listen to. Yeah. This isn't the noise album you need to listen to if you're into noise. And if you're into Buckethead, you're probably not super into noise. So, like, maybe you don't need to listen to this either.
Yeah, it's, I don't even know what this would be a good soundtrack to. Like, it's another bathroom soundtrack, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, like, it's atmospheric in a way. Yeah. Like, I think it could be used for something. There are some songs, I mean, well, all of the songs, like, could be the soundtrack to, like, a scantily clad young woman is hiding from a killer, and that killer is, like, searching through the house to find this scantily clad young woman. Like, all of the songs could be that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, like, 99% of horror films.
That's true. I still don't like it, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like more like unscantily clad women hiding from.
So like women wearing jumpsuits.
Hell yes. Oh yeah, or fucking Adidas tracksuits. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
like I am right now, 100%.
100%.
It's good. Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah, that's
that's it. Like, what else do we say about it? It's a Bucket Noise album. Bucket Noise.
Bucket Noise. Yeah, it wasn't great. I did like Pike 61 and 62 quite a bit. I thought they were kind of the same album. You can kind of package them together.
Mm-hmm.
Pike 63,
Yeah, I feel you.
No.
I feel you. I didn't hate it. Like, I don't think I've hated any of these albums. But it's definitely on the low end of the spectrum as far as like recommendations go.
Absolutely.
That said,
you know what I think it's time for?
Statements from the Bucket
Void. Yeah, I love that. I love that song. I think I sing that song to myself all the time. It's an amazing song. It's probably the best song you've ever written. I just want you to know that.
Thanks. I guess.
Okay, so we're gonna kick things off with something a little bit more. Okay, let me just tell you what Statements from the Bucket Void is. Britt, it's you. I know you know what this is, but let's say somebody is listening to this podcast for the first time.
No. You want me to explain it to them?
Yeah. Explain it this time.
So, Statements from the Bucket Void is when we dive deep into comments on social media, mostly YouTube. And Spencer does a deep mining for comments about Buckethead. Unique, interesting questions, quandaries, and situations and statements that we may then comment ourselves on and make quandaries, statements within the Bucket Void. Because all statements are made in a void in a way, but the ones Spencer finds are made distinctly in the Bucket Void.
In the Bucket Void. Exactly. Thanks, Britt. I appreciate that. That was just like I would say. So we're going to start things off with something a little interesting. YouTube user C, simply the letter C. I don't know how they got that username. I don't know how usernames work on YouTube, so don't worry about that. 3 months ago, they say, and this is a comment about Pike 61. And they say, does this album art remind anyone of Hypnotize by System of a Down? And I don't know when the last time you saw the album art for Hypnotize.
I do remember it's like a face with like a whole bunch of like waves behind it, right? It's kind of similar, yeah. I do remember this album art quite a bit. I'm gonna bring it up. I've seen it pretty recently. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah, and then we're gonna bring up Pike 61. We're gonna take a look at it.
Oh. There we go. Here we go. It's right there. Yeah.
Okay, so Pike 61, System of a Down, Hypnotize.
Yeah.
We look at them back to back, and yeah, I definitely see a resemblance here. Like this is something. This is not nothing. Like there is definitely a resemblance.
Especially since by this point, I believe Buckethead had actually collaborated with Serge Tankian at this point.
So here's an interesting thing. When I saw this YouTube comment, I was like, oh, interesting. And I looked this up. And then I was like, you know what? I have not thought about System of a Down's Hypnotize in quite a long time. So I brought up that album on Apple Music, and I just started listening to it. The first song on that album, Attack, starts with a blast beat. There's a blast beat the first fucking 10 seconds of that album.
Yeah. I mean, they're a legitimate like metal band. You didn't know that?
I mean, let me be real here.
Yeah.
I never got into System of a Down. Like, there were certain songs that I thought were okay. I never owned any of their albums growing up. Like, I listened to a couple of songs like that were featured in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like Shimmy, for example. Like that's a song by them that I liked.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of other songs that I thought were okay, but like I was never super into them, and I never really like cared enough to remember anything about them.
Yeah, I mean they're not musically, they're a fine metal band. I mean, the real star in that band is definitely like Serge Tankian. Like that dude,
I would agree. Yeah,
he's an incredible vocalist. Like he's got a very unique voice. Like, I mean, he brings a very, like, Middle Eastern Armenian flavor to, like, this pop metal situation, which is really weird. But
what's interesting is, like, so I ended up listening to 2 System of a Down albums after I saw this comment. This comment inspired quite a dive for me. I listened to Toxicity and Hypnotize.
Toxicity is so good.
It's very good. Like, I actually agree. Like, it is a very good album.
Straight up, the whole so when I was in middle school, when I first heard that album, it blew my mind, and so I just like started copying a bunch of like copies of this album for all of my friends, and like my brother made fun of me because I like spent like $30 on just like making this album for my friends, which was a fucking ton of CDs, you know. It was like 20 fucking CDRs back then.
Yeah. It was really good. Like there are a lot of interesting ideas. You know what's the most wild thing to me is upon listening to 2 System of a Down albums, the most striking thing that comes to my mind is that very little of their music I would classify as nu metal. Like, they are definitely associated with that scene, and I definitely expected more of their music to be nu metal flavored, and very little of it is.
It's so interesting because it's like, I mean, yeah, a lot of it is like thrash, and a lot of it's like kind of borderline death metal, but then they have like these very like melodic
like alternative rock section. Yeah, it's like alternative rock meets post thrash.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, post thrash. I'd actually qualify it probably as post thrash. Actually, that's a good description of it because it's like a very melodic, almost atmospheric at some points take.
Yeah, but it's like
thrash and very aggressive music, and like
it's like thrash or like late '90s hardcore that meets like alternative rock of that era. But it's also an interesting like juxtaposition of 2 different styles that like don't really work together in like the your first approximation of it, but like the way they do it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I definitely I respect the band. There's some of their albums I just don't like at all. Like Steal This Album, I'm not my favorite at all.
Yeah, I actually really liked Hypnotize. And then I actually listened to part of Mesmerize. I did not get to finish it.
Mesmerize is okay.
But I liked Mesmerize too. Like I thought it was very, it's wild to me that this band had as much like commercial appeal as they ended up having, because listening to these albums, I'm like, this is like weird thrash. Like what? Yeah. Like how did this get mainstream? Like this isn't even nu metal. Like it's really something. It's weird.
Yeah, because there's like no rapping or anything anywhere in there. There's really no hip hop element at all to their band.
No, really. And like there's very little like. So another thing that is really defined as a nu metal archetype is like chugging riffs that like stop and start suddenly. That have like a kind of like funk or like hip hop type feel to them. Yeah, and that's another thing that System of a Down doesn't really ever do. Like they do like very like start and stop type stuff, but it's in the perspective of like, this is just weird music. Like not
it's kind of somewhere between like maybe like 80s thrash and then like Mr. Bungle type stuff.
I was going to say that. Wow. Man, you read my mind, dude, sometimes. Like, I was actually going to name drop Mr. Bungle because, like, that's another thing that I thought about when I was listening to it. I was like, this is, like, yeah, totally. It's like that almost like that kind of school of thought. It's like, really
maybe like
interesting.
Phantomos or something like that, too. Yeah, like, very, very...
But anyways, System of a Down maybe is a pretty good band. I don't
know. They're a legitimately good band. Unfortunately, their drummer is into Trump.
Oh, I know a lot about their drummer. Yeah, He's a piece of shit. You know what's interesting about that though is like, so Serge Tankian, who is like ostensibly a pretty left-leaning dude, as far as like all of his political commentary goes, his perspective on it is like, which just blows my mind. But like his perspective is literally, I don't care about U.S. politics.
Right.
I only care about Turkish politics.
No, he cares about Armenian politics because he's Armenian. Yeah,
sorry. My apology.
Yeah. No, I read about this literally yesterday.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't care about U.S. politics at all. And because that dude agrees with him on Armenian politics, he's like, whatever. Yeah. Like, that's all I care about.
Because, I mean, if you're from Armenia, like, that's where you care about, like, your homeland. And then, like, you know, like, U.S. politics are kind of distant to you in a way. And so, like, apparently, because, you know, here it's different. Like, no one is afraid for their life and their family's life here, really. Whereas Armenia, that's different because, like, Turkey and Azerbaijan are literally trying to destroy that state. And then, like, Russia is also, like pursuing, like, kind of a counterinsurgency because they see they can control that state as well. And so Armenia is so absolutely royally fucked, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so little we can do about, like, we should impose as many sanctions as possible we can on Turkey and Azerbaijan and Russia all about this, but I don't think we will. And that sucks. But if you can, get out there, educate yourself, look up fucking, I mean, Armenia is in a shitty place right now.
I would say look up Serge Tankian. I mean, he is drawing a lot of attention to the issues that he thinks are most important. Like, start there, right?
That's
like, listen to what that person is saying.
He's got a lot,
and then kind of go from there.
Points,
you know, if you find that stuff interesting, if you want to know more about it, like, he seems like a pretty, like, reasonable, perspectived person, like, to start with.
And he's also got a cool voice.
He has a cool voice. I like his voice a lot. Like, I think it's interesting and weird. Anyways, YouTube user Jim Moeller says 4 years ago, flat out funkalicious, mind blown. If I ever travel to outer space, I'm taking Buckethead with me. My question for you, Britt, is twofold. Firstly, do you think Buckethead would go with Jim Moeller? Secondly, if you were to go to outer space, who would you choose to bring with you?
So, Buckethead, first off, would not choose Jim Muller to go to space with. He would go with Dan Monty or Albert or Brain. Like, he needs a functional band to go with. And so...
That makes sense.
And a producer. So, that's the thing. If I was going to space, who would I choose to go with me? Well, if I had to go now, you, because we still have like 70 episodes of this bullshit to get through.
I'm glad that I'm included by proxy, simply by virtue of the thing we have going on.
Just by
that's
obligation.
Great. Feels good.
Either that, maybe my brother would be cool.
Sure, yeah. Beck would go to space with you, maybe.
Yeah. I'd probably take, someone
I feel like Beck would be like, I don't know about space.
I'd be like, yeah, well, I'm going to be out there alone. And he'd be like, can we watch, like, dumb shit out there? And be like, well, yeah. Then you'd be, like, paid by the government to hang out. And he'd be like, yeah, okay.
Excellent. Amazing.
Like, what more do you want in life than to be paid to, like, hang out and do dumb idiot bullshit, really?
Yeah, right? Like, that is the dream. Or at least for me. And for you, right?
I guess so. No.
I guess so. Yeah, it's the goal. So. The goal. Anyways, we'll proceed on a little bit here. Here's a comment that, like, left me a little confused. User Volvita, great username, by the way. Vulva plus Velveeta, excellent.
Perfect.
Says, interesting sounds. The genius has incomprehensible musical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely disagree with that statement. I don't feel like Buckethead's musical ideas are incomprehensible. Like, what? What does that even mean?
I feel like it's just someone who doesn't play an instrument, and so they just don't get it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I highly doubt there's more to it than something like that. Like, yeah, that's basically what it looks like. So here's the thing that I realized while I was doing our statements from the Bucket Void section this week. While I was researching for this, I realized something that I forgot, which is that Buckethead is represented on the Metal Archives.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I would actually argue that Metal Archives has the most thorough Buckethead discography that you could find on the internet.
Encyclopedia Metallum is what you're speaking
Encyclopedia Metallum.
Metallum, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm actually not gonna reference this too much other than to say Metal Archives user Stained Class 2112 titled their Pike 63 Grand Gallery review as "What the Hell, Brian? Part 4." They gave it 12% out of, 2% out of 100.
Wait, for what?
Pike 63 Grand Gallery.
Wow. That's really low.
It's really low.
Yeah.
But also, this person in particular has reviewed a great number of Pikes. A great number. As you can see, they titled this one, "What the Hell, Brian? Part 4."
What's their name on there? Because there's
Stained Class 2112. Stained Class being a reference, obviously, to Judas Priest's first album, Stained Class. And 2112, obviously, being a reference to Rush's seminal work, 2112.
Yeah. Stained Class. So that's not someone I've heard of. There's one user I follow who goes by Silly Puppy on a lot of websites. Who is
okay? Skinny Puppy's sick.
No, Silly Puppy.
Oh,
what they go by, Silly Puppy. Skinny Puppy is a sick industrial band though.
Yeah, Skinny Puppy's sick as fuck.
Yeah. Like girls who listen to Skinny Puppy.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Hell yeah.
I'm into
I have dated a few of those.
Yeah, they're
good times. All.
Yeah. All? No. But Silly Puppy is like a reviewer on a ton of different like review sites, and they have tons of Buckethead reviews that I've actually taken to heart and have challenged in ways when listening to albums. Mm-hmm. So
let me tell you this,
Silly Puppy,
so
you motherfucker.
What do you think YouTube? Or sorry, not YouTube. I apologize. What do you think Metal Archives user Stained Class 2112 thought of Pike 59?
59?
Oh yeah.
Which one was this?
That was the one that we liked quite a lot. Jeopardy backwards.
You know what? I'm gonna say they actually disliked it, because you said the critical analysis was overwhelmingly negative for that, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. What's up?
Metal Archives user Stained Class 2112 called Pike 59 Jeopardy backwards a quote monstrosity.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. They did not approve of Pike 59.
It's a bummer.
They're not on our level, is what I'm saying.
I'm guessing though they probably did like Roller Coaster Track Repair.
I believe so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Oh, I can see that too. We will report back in relation to Metal Archives. We'll see. We'll revisit Metal Archives at a later point.
You know what? Maybe we should make that a bonus episode, just like statements from the Metal Archives. Metallum.
So, YouTube user, in response to Pike 62, says, YouTube user JSP16 says, in response to Pike 62, the other Cetacesis album is way better. But then, a response! YouTube user Boognish, who has made an appearance here before, says, they're both way better.
Whoa. And so...
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
So Boognish has appeared on here before, and you know how I know that?
Why?
You know what Boognish is?
No. Is it something to do with butt sex?
No, I've explained this before. Actually, yes, probably. But because the Boognish is the symbol for Ween, the band.
No!
Yes.
That's not real!
The Mighty Boognish. Fucking look it up. Google it right now.
Oh
Google Mighty Boognish. And I'm
Googling it right now!
Hands up right now. I'm not even Googling it.
Hands up, hands down?
Back,
oh my God! You're right! What? No! No! Why does it keep coming back to Ween? It's always Ween!
Right? Honestly, oddly, this is as much of a Ween podcast at this point as it is a Buckhead podcast.
Reference episode 20, it smells like Ween.
It smells like... Yeah.
It smells like Ween in here. Wow, interesting. I wasn't aware, even though apparently I was aware.
Yep, you were.
Good to know. This YouTube user who posted the last comment also posted another comment, which I think is interesting, and we're going to address that here right now. They say YouTube user JSP16 also says, "What the hell is a Cetacesis?" Britt, answer that question for me.
So I looked at this. I tried to recombinate the letters. I tried a lot of things here.
Yeah, I googled Cetacesis too.
Yeah, I tried the best I could to figure out what the fuck he's talking about here. I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea. What do you think?
I have no idea either. I like to imagine it involves coming, though, but that's just like how I interpret most things.
Yeah, I mean,
like just blast and jizz, dude.
Well, I mean, so I have two theories here. Here's the yin and yang of my life.
Okay.
Life is pain, right?
Yeah, of course.
That, right.
Yeah,
but
life
also,
is filled with pain.
But also, life is come.
Life is come.
Life is come, and so
it's pain.
That's the better
it's pain,
part of
but
life.
It's also come. Those are the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
come pain.
Pain is the black, come is the white. You know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Obviously.
I mean, we all no matter all of our pain is darkness, no matter who we are, and all of our come is white, no matter who we are, unless you have some weird discharge stuff going on. But
you should see a doctor.
Light in color usually. I mean, it's usually not, unless you're on your period, and then you can have blood discharge with it, and it can be darker. But that's kind of a different thing, and we understand, and that's totally cool.
Different thing.
But mostly, the cum is the white part. Namaste.
Hell yeah. I'm highly distressed. I'm highly distressed that you told me to Google Boognish, and now I just have all these pictures of the Ween logo.
Yeah, now
I hate it.
Now you're just gonna get a fucking ton of fucking Ween fucking posters and t-shirts recommended to you.
No Ween content for me, please.
Only Ween content for Spencer, please.
No, thank you.
Hey Alexa, only provide Spencer with Ween content.
Shut up.
Hey, YouTube... Alexa, only provide Spencer with Ween content. It's done.
YouTube user Gundam Force 999 6 years ago says, well, they accidentally described Buckethead jerking off, but I'm going to read their comment anyway. They say Buckethead is all about tension and release. Something good is coming. And then YouTube user Jason33784 says, I hope so. And like, now we're thinking about Buckethead jerking off.
Yeah. I mean, like, so, we've talked about this a bunch. Like, Buckethead's dick.
That bucket dick.
Bucket dick. You know, it's just, I feel like it's like him. It's like long and skinny, right? I mean,
yeah, it's got to be like really long.
Either
really
that or it's just like super fat and regular. Like, I can't imagine he has like a fucking just like monster insane dong. Just like a.
It's a long and skinny dong. It's got to be
long and skinny, straight up. It's like his fingers, you know. It's proportional to that. Yeah. Do you think he has like a mini raincoat for it? Do you think he has a condom that looks like a mini like yellow jacket for it, like he wears on stage?
Wow, that would be cool, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Do you think he wears condoms, or do you think he wears bucket raw?
I bet
bucket raw.
Bucket raw. This is crossing a line, I feel like. I don't even know.
What line do we have? Like,
good point. Good point.
Yeah. Like, if Buckethead's listening to this, he's like, yeah, motherfuckers, I got raw.
Ah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess it would be cool to see what a bucket spawn looks like a little bit. But also, you know, I don't know. Who needs to be breeding? Really?
Yeah, nobody. Like,
nobody needs to
the
be
problem
breeding.
is, though, like, all the people I know that are breeding, I'm like, oh, don't.
Yeah, it grosses me out when I see that shit.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, it's all, like, people with bad complexion and shit, and I'm like, no. Don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to my doctor about a vasectomy the other day.
That's a good thing. Yeah, and like a lot of people will, after you're 30, most places will just cover you 100% for a vasectomy. Yeah. They're like, yeah, well, that's going to save everyone on medical costs. And then you can...
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can just like get a good like, you know, STD test and then just be like, hey, listen, check this out. Also, I have a vasectomy. Raw Dog City, baby.
Raw Dog City, baby!
Raw Dog City, baby!
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. It's wonderful. It's good stuff. It's great stuff. You love to see that. I love to see YouTube comments inadvertently describe Buckethead jerking off. It makes me happy.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. So we're going to do one more today. And this one is from YouTube user Jmon6669. And they say, so does this album require Cetacesis to be played overlapping? Just a thought. And then, well, hold on. Before we get to that, YouTube user WiseInet says, tried it, doesn't work. But wait! YouTube user Tyler Harrison 3 years ago says, or maybe it does. Think about it.
Maybe this is something after we're done with the full Pike series that we can like explore, is like
maybe, yeah,
lining them up and trying to produce them together to make them like a consistent album.
Yeah.
But at this point, I have no fucking desire to do anything like that.
Yeah, and like that's not also like not no. I highly fucking doubt that. Like that's not going to be a thing.
It is 9 tracks though, and the albums are almost the exact same length. So you never know, but I mostly do know, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you know what? I think that's.
You have no idea how much I sing that song to myself.
Cool. How hey Spencer, what are you been into? What do you got to recommend to me, dog?
Okay, so I do have a recommendation this week. Like I actually have a real recommendation this week.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
I started listening to a band that I think is pretty cool and that people should check out.
Yeah.
I found them on a Facebook group called Noise Rock Now, and they're called Whores with a period after, so it's Whores period.
Cool.
They have several EPs and one full length. They have I think 4 or 5 EPs and then a full length. And they play sludgy, heavy rock. And it's very good. I really dig this band. It's a band you should listen to if you're into metal in your 30s. It's like that kind of band. Okay. I don't necessarily think that they're for everybody, but if you're into metal and you're in your 30s, you should check this band out. Pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I dig it.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that they're a metal band. They're just a heavy, their music has a very heavy rock vibe to it, but the vocals kind of alternate between throaty yelling and outright screaming, and they're very heavy. They use fuzz pedals and so the thing about that band, I'll be honest, the thing that makes them as good as they are is that their drummer is really fucking good. And that's kind of true for most metal bands, I'll be honest. If your drummer is really fucking good, your band is going to be way better.
100%. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But they're definitely one of those bands that benefits from the fact that they have a very good drummer, and it makes their music more interesting than I think a lot of other bands that play similar kinds of music, because there's a lot of bands playing music that is kind of similar to the music that they're playing, but their drummer is so good that it makes it compelling despite that.
Nice. Sounds lovely.
So yeah, listen to the band Whores period. They have a full length that is very good. I would also recommend their first EP. It is also very good.
Nice.
Britt, what you got to recommend me?
Watched a film last night, actually. The newest Charlie Kaufman film, and I've talked about Charlie Kaufman before.
Oh, yes.
Recommended his newest...
Adaptation is one of my favorite films of all time. It is amazing. Also, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, one of my favorite films.
Absolutely. Amazing screenwriter. He just wrote and directed a film, an adaptation of a novel by Ian Reid called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And
I've heard some things about this. What did you think of it?
It was fantastic. One of the most uncomfortable experiences I've had watching a movie in quite a long time.
Yeah.
It was it was described to me as a psychological thriller or psychological horror. And it was, but it wasn't, and I can't even explain it, but the entire time, there was this intensity and this tenseness to the movie to where it just, it gave me a lot of anxiety, and it made me feel a lot of things.
This is interesting. Yeah.
The leads were played by Jesse Plemons, who was Todd in Breaking Bad, and also Jessie Buckley, who is an up-and-coming actress who recently starred in the newest season of Fargo, in which she was absolutely incredible. She's one of my favorite up-and-coming actresses by far. but also was rounded out by Toni Collette, who you might know from like Hereditary.
Sure.
But she was also like the mom on Sixth Sense, going way back. And then David Thewlis, who was he was the villain on the 3rd season of Fargo. So like most of the season most of this movie came out of Fargo. And I would also highly recommend Fargo because that show fucking rules. And I mean, it's a very actors show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fantastic. But
Hell yeah,
that movie is phenomenal. Highly recommended.
Hell
really,
yeah. I love that.
Really
nice.
Uncomfortable. Makes you think a lot. Makes you just... it's not a movie you go away feeling good about.
Hell yeah.
But I kind of like that. Hell yeah. Fucking...
Like the band, hell yeah.
Railing coke.
Snorting coke at the Golden Corral bathroom.
Hell yeah, dog. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
It's dope,
so,
dude.
That's about it. That's about it for me.
Yeah. If you want to follow me on the internet, you can follow me at New Middle Karate Society on Instagram or Twitter. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe don't follow me. I don't care.
Yeah, me neither. I'm at the Queer Goth. I don't care. Just on any social media, look up Bucketcast, and you'll fucking find us somewhere. It doesn't matter. Go fuck yourself, you know?
Yeah, wait. Well, what's the email, though? What's our email?
We've got gettinheadbucketcast@gmail.com, and also you can just go to gettinhead.biz and send an email to us directly from there. I've got some fucking forms.
Forms and shit, dude.
I got
They'll autofill with your information if you have an iPhone.
Hell yeah, dog. It's got all that shit. It's real forms. Hell yeah. Truck stops. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Doing
coke off of truck stop donuts. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This has been Britain.
And this has been Spencer. You've been listening to Gettin' Head, a Bucketcast.
Stay greasy, motherfucking bucket heads.